Hi, you're on the Reddit Confessions channel. Today's story isn't about how love fades. It's about the exact second it shatters, silently, in the space between a hand reaching out and the other pulling away. The heater was broken again. Her coffee had gone cold, and I was standing in our living room holding a glass bowl filled with warm water and rose petals, because I thought giving her a foot soak after a long shift would help, that maybe she'd smile, maybe she'd say thank you. Maybe she'd remember I existed. She looked at the bowl like it was an insult. "I'm not in the mood, Nolan." She didn't raise her voice. She didn't need to. She walked right past me, opened the fridge, and grabbed a drink she never used to like until he recommended it. That was it. That was the moment. Not a fight, not an affair, not yelling. Just a woman refusing her husband's touch like it was an inconvenience. Like I was an inconvenience. She didn't notice I hadn't moved in 10 minutes. She didn't hear me whisper, "Okay." And she definitely didn't see me pull the ring off my finger 2 hours later, place it on her car keys, and step out the back door with a backpack and a dog leash. I didn't slam the door. I didn't write a dramatic letter. I simply disappeared. No text, no call, no warning. She told her friends I must have snapped, but she didn't know what really broke me. And she had no idea what I'd discover about her in the days that followed. Secrets that shattered even the parts of me I thought were already numb. This isn't a story of revenge. It's what happened when I walked away. And she was the one who finally broke. It took exactly 6 hours for her first text to come in. "Where are you?" 2 more followed, both colder. "Are you serious?" And then, "You're being dramatic." I turned off the phone. That night I slept in the back of my car with Chips curled up next to me, his soft breathing steadier than anything I'd felt in weeks. The air was freezing, but it was the first time in a long time that I felt like I could actually breathe. I had no plan, no destination, just silence and that flickering feeling in my gut that maybe I'd finally done something for myself, even if it looked like weakness to her. For 3 days, I stayed completely off-grid, ate vending machine food, showered once at a rest stop, read half of an old book I found in the glove box. I was somewhere between ashamed and relieved, but on the 4th day, I slipped and checked her social media. What I saw kicked the air out of me. She had posted a selfie, smiling, with the caption, "Clearing my space. Sometimes less is more." That photo had 47 likes in the first hour. One of them was from Devin, the same guy I had seen on her screen that night. She said he was a client. But I noticed something even worse in the comments. Someone wrote, "Proud of you, Emmy's new chapters are beautiful." And she replied with a heart. A heart. I thought I'd cry. Instead, I just stared at that little red symbol until my eyes burned. Was I really that disposable? I wanted to believe she was just trying to look strong online, but something in my chest felt ripped in half. I wasn't just gone from her life. She was writing me out like I had never been there to begin with, and that would have been the end of it, if not for the message I got 2 days later. Not from her, but from her sister. It read, "You need to call me. I don't think you know what's really going on. Marlee is not okay." And that's when I realized she wasn't breaking publicly. She was breaking in silence, just like I had. I didn't want to call her sister. I really didn't. It felt like pulling back a curtain I had already sealed shut. But something about her message haunted me. She's not okay. What did that mean? Was it guilt? Was it regret? Or was it manipulation, sent through a family member to get me to crawl back? Still, after an hour of pacing around an old diner parking lot, I dialed. Trudy picked up on the first ring. Her voice was sharp, like she'd been rehearsing. "I'm not calling to fix things between you two. I'm calling because she's spiraling." I didn't say anything. She continued. "She quit her job 3 days ago, hasn't been eating, she's barely speaking to anyone. And yesterday, she passed out at our parents' house." I leaned against the hood of my car, eyes closed. "I saw the post," I muttered. "She looked fine." Trudy actually laughed, bitter and dry. "Yeah, that post? She took that picture the day before you left. She scheduled it to go live later. She wanted to look strong. She's been unraveling since you vanished." My mouth felt like sandpaper. Suddenly, the image of Marlee smirking online didn't look triumphant anymore. It looked like camouflage. Trudy kept going. "Look, I know she hurt you. I'm not defending that. But there are things you don't know. About Devin, about what happened that night. The video call, the awkward smile, the flinch. Devin isn't just a client, Trudy said, lowering her voice. They dated. A long time ago. He showed up again out of nowhere 6 months ago. Started messaging her, manipulating her. I told her to block him, but my heart was racing now. But what? I asked. She hesitated. He's been blackmailing her. I stood there frozen, like I'd been sucker punched. Trudy sighed. She didn't want to tell you. Thought you'd think she was cheating. Maybe she wanted to protect you. Maybe she just panicked. But it's not what you think, Nolan. I couldn't breathe. Suddenly, the story I had told myself for days, that she stopped loving me, that I was invisible, started to collapse. And what came next shattered everything I thought I knew about why she pulled away from me that night. I drove through the night without knowing where I was going. Trudy's voice kept repeating in my head. He's been blackmailing her. Every time I blinked, I saw Marley's face again. Not the version that pushed me away, but the one from a year ago, curled up in my arms during a thunderstorm, whispering she felt safe with me. And now she had been dealing with all of that, alone. My first instinct was anger. Why didn't she tell me? Why did she let me walk out thinking she had just stopped loving me? But beneath the anger was a deeper ache, the realization that the person I thought I knew had been breaking quietly under pressure I never saw coming. Around 5:30 a.m., I stopped at an overlook just outside of Pine Hill and sat on a bench with Chips beside me. I opened my phone. It had dozens of missed calls and texts, most from Trudy, a few from an unknown number I didn't recognize. Then finally, a message from Marley, short, desperate. I need to talk to you. Please, that word. Please. It pierced me in a way nothing else had. I hesitated. Then I called. She answered instantly, like she'd been waiting with the phone in her hand for days. Nolan? Her voice cracked. I didn't say anything at first, just listened to her breathing on the other end. She sounded different, smaller. I know I don't deserve to ask you for anything, she began, but you deserve the truth. And I can't live with myself if you never hear it. I could barely whisper. Then tell me. What she said next made my stomach drop. Devin recorded me. Months ago. We met for coffee because he said he wanted closure, and he had his phone recording the entire time. He twisted everything I said, made it sound like I was planning to leave you. He threatened to send it to your job, your friends, your parents. I didn't know what to do. I panicked. And then I started pulling away from you because I thought if I acted cold enough, you'd leave me, before he could destroy you. My chest tightened. So you wanted me to leave you? I asked, my voice breaking. She sobbed. No. I wanted to protect you, but I ended up destroying both of us instead. I didn't hang up. I didn't yell. I just sat there, staring at the sunrise, realizing the person I left behind was a version of her I never fully understood, until now. I didn't know what to say. Her voice, trembling on the other end of the line, made it hard to hold on to the anger I'd been rehearsing for days. I'd imagined this moment a dozen different ways, demanding explanations, screaming, accusing her of betrayal. But instead, all I said was, "Where are you?" She didn't answer at first. I thought she might have hung up. But then, quietly, like a confession, she replied, "I've been staying at my parents'. Trudy took my phone yesterday. I didn't even know she called you." I closed my eyes. I could still hear that message in my head. She's not okay. And now I understood why. This wasn't just a bad marriage or a tired relationship. This was someone being emotionally blackmailed, cornered by her past, and crushed under the weight of secrets she thought she had to carry alone. I told her I'd come. I didn't know why. Maybe out of love, maybe out of guilt, or maybe because a part of me needed to look her in the eyes and ask the question I'd been avoiding. Did you ever want me to know? I arrived 2 hours later. Her parents weren't home. She opened the door slowly, like she half expected me to vanish the moment we made eye contact. She looked thinner, pale, like sleep had become a memory. We sat in the kitchen, the same kitchen where I once tried to teach her how to make my mom's cinnamon rolls. Now we just sat there in silence, breathing in the tension. Finally, I broke it. You let me believe you didn't love me anymore, that I was nothing. Her eyes filled instantly. Because if I told you the truth, you'd have tried to fight him, or fix it, or protect me, and I couldn't live with that. I leaned forward. So instead, you tried to make me leave you? She nodded, ashamed. I thought it would keep you safe. That's when it hit me. She never stopped loving me. She just loved me in a way that was warped by fear. and somewhere in all that silence, we both forgot how to reach for each other. But that didn't change the next reality I had to face. Devin still had the video, and if I stayed, I wasn't just forgiving her. I was walking into a war she'd already tried and failed to win alone. The worst part wasn't the betrayal. It was the way she tried to protect me from it, as if I was something fragile that would crack under pressure. I sat across from Marley, the woman I thought I knew inside and out, realizing I had only ever seen fragments of her, and those pieces never included fear like this. She slid her phone across the table. There it was, a message from Devin, dated 3 weeks ago. If he finds out, I'll make sure the whole story sounds like you've been cheating for months. I'll send the clip to his boss. Want to gamble with his career? Beneath that was a draft response from her. Never sent. Please stop. I'll do anything. Just leave him out of this. My stomach turned. The Devin I'd only seen on a blurry video call was a predator in disguise. And Marley? She had already been living in the fallout of a threat she thought would destroy me. I didn't say much, just stared at the message, then back at her. Why didn't you tell Trudy? Or anyone? She hesitated, eyes fixed on her hands. Because part of me thought I deserved it. I wasn't strong enough to push him away from the beginning, and I was terrified if I told anyone, it would only escalate. I didn't know whether to hug her or scream. I stood up and paced, the air suddenly too thick to breathe. You should have told me, I said, my voice cracking. I could have helped you. I know, she whispered, but I didn't want to see the look on your face, the one I saw when you left. I turned toward her. You don't understand. I didn't leave because you flinched. I left because that moment was the first time I realized how far away you'd already gone. Silence again, that deep, suffocating kind that fills the space between people who still care but don't know how to show it anymore. And then I asked the question I wasn't ready for the answer to. Do you want me to come back? She didn't answer right away. Just walked over, reached for my hand and said, Only if you're coming back to stand beside me, not fix me. I nodded. Because deep down, I knew this wasn't just her battle anymore, and I had already disappeared once. I couldn't vanish again. Not now. Not when the real fight was about to begin. We didn't sleep that night. There was too much between us. Not just pain, but unfinished conversations, shattered assumptions, and the weight of everything unspoken. Around 3 a.m., I stood on the porch with a mug of cold coffee and Marley beside me, wrapped in the same hoodie of mine I hadn't seen in weeks. I don't know how to undo this, she whispered. I'm not asking you to, I replied. I just want to know everything. That's when she told me the full story. Devin hadn't just resurfaced with flirty texts. He had shown up outside her work, uninvited. He followed her car twice. He threatened to leak doctored messages, screenshots that painted her as manipulative and unfaithful. And the video? It was cropped, edited to strip context and twist her words into betrayal. She had tried to cut him off, but every time she did, he upped the threat. And when she finally told Trudy the truth, she was already days into a breakdown. I asked for his number. She hesitated, then gave it to me. I didn't tell her what I was going to do, just kissed her forehead and stepped into the yard to make the call. He picked up fast. Marley, he said, sounding smug. No, I said coldly. It's the husband you were so eager to destroy. Silence, then a scoff. She tell you her little version of things? Look, man, it's not my fault she... Save it, I snapped. I know everything, and here's what's going to happen. You're going to delete every file you have. You're going to disappear from her life. And if even a whisper of your garbage surfaces again, I will press charges for harassment, stalking, and defamation. I have copies of your messages. So if you want to go legal, we'll go legal. His confidence cracked. You don't scare me. Good, I replied, because I'm not trying to scare you. I'm trying to end you legally, and I will. I hung up. My hands were shaking, but not from fear, from rage I'd been holding in since the day she flinched away from me. When I walked back inside, Marley looked at me like I was someone she hadn't seen in a long time. Not because I'd changed, but because I finally showed up. That moment didn't fix everything, but for the first time in weeks, we stood side by side, not as a broken couple, but as people finally ready to stop running from the damage and start cleaning it up. It didn't happen overnight. Healing isn't a single decision. It's 100 small ones you make every day. Marley started therapy. So did I. Separately at first, then eventually together. The silence between us became something different. Not the absence of words, but the presence of understanding. We didn't talk about Devin again, not because we were pretending he hadn't existed, but because we'd finally taken away his power to shape our story. We agreed to report everything to a lawyer, all the texts, recordings, screenshots, documented, processed, handled the right way. There were still tough days. Days when we had to relearn how to be in the same room without guilt. Days when I'd instinctively pull away before she reached out, and she'd stop mid-sentence, afraid to say the wrong thing. But then there were days like this one. Sitting on our back porch, coffee in hand, watching Chips chase butterflies, the silence between us soft and safe. She looked at me and said, "You didn't save me. You believed me." That saved me more than anything. I think that was the moment I finally forgave her. Not just for what happened, but for believing I wasn't strong enough to face it with her. We weren't the same people anymore. Maybe we never would be. But we were better in all the right ways. Bruised, but still standing. And maybe that's all love really is. Not perfect people, but imperfect ones who keep showing up when it matters. So, yeah, she broke when I vanished, and I broke when she pushed me away. But when we stopped running, we realized we weren't each other's weakness. We were the only ones still willing to fight for what was left. And that, somehow, made all the difference. Thank you for listening to our story. If you've ever had a moment in your life where disappearing felt easier than staying, or where silence said more than words, I'd love to hear about it. Share a powerful moment from your own journey in the comments. And don't forget, you're on Reddit Confessions, where every story is a reminder that truth doesn't always come wrapped in perfection, but it always deserves to be told.